Welcome into another edition of the Morning Glory Show After Dark. I hope you guys are enjoying your day as much as we are, other than this Titans game. But we're here to break it down. The Tennessee Titans dropped the home opener 24-17 to the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. We're going to be talking about that and so much more. But as always, I'm joined by my co-host, B-Will at B-Will-TFTV and TFTV Sports. How you doing today, B-Will?
Man, I'm excellent, man. The only thing that sucked is that we saw the Titans fumble away a home opener, man. It's just tough, man. It's starting to get a little numb to it, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Little deja vu at this point.
Yes.
But if you guys are checking us out for the first time, do us a favor. Head over to YouTube, type in Glory Day Sports. Go and join us in the live chat over there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on this video. We do this all for free. We hope you enjoy the content, and we want to continue to do that for you. But also, let's go ahead and subscribe so you can enter that Tajay Spears signed jersey giveaway. Giving that away as soon as we hit that 1,000 subscriber marks. We're just like 75-ish away, getting dang close.
Y'all sub.
Yeah, hit the sub button. That's all you got to do. And then we also got our merch, The Morning Glory Show. T-shirts, mugs, get you what you got. And then, rep the brand. Rep the brand for us. But, yeah, come vent in the comments with us. Get it all out now so we can move on to this next week as we move on to Malik Willis. It's getting real
safe
close.
Space, man.
It's a safe space in here. Come join guys like Deagle. Good things happen when that boy Julius is on the field.
Except covering punts.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't out there for Gibbons last week. He was out there this week, and we have the same result. So I don't know about all that. But come join us in the comments. But the talk for the Titans fans for a second week is going to be Will Levis, and it's probably going to be that for the majority of the season. I thought he was more accurate. We think. Hopefully, it's in a better manner in the future.
That's right.
But I thought he was more accurate today. Pushed the ball downfield. Had the jump ball to Burks that maybe you would like to see somebody other than Burks make that catch, and Burks should have caught that.
Yes.
And then other than that INT, obviously, 2 weeks in a row, we see this scramble, try to do too much out of the pocket, gets pressured, and underhands it for another turnover. At this point, are we sure it's fixable? Or is this just like viewing one of your exes saying, I think I can fix him? I think I can fix him. I think I can fix him. And then ultimately you've wasted your time.
Yeah. With Levis, I don't know if it's fixable. I really don't think it is. I've seen more composure in the tailgate right before the game than I saw out there at Nissan. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'll go to the jump ball with Burks because I'm gonna start with that, right?
I figured you had some thoughts on that.
So the thing with the jump ball with Burks is I'm not mad that we did the play call. I really don't like to see it because sometimes you got to protect people from themselves. Right. So sometimes Callahan's got to be like, okay, he said it in preseason how a guy made a drop and he went right back to him. Levis is completely shot right now. I mean, he ain't worth taking behind the barn. Don't give him the ball in his hands and make him throw a deep ball like that or have it set up for him to even have a chance at it. I'll give him a screen pass before I do that. But I'm not mad at it, right? I'm more mad at Burks. A jump ball, he's got a guy that he's four inches taller than. He's got like 30, 40 pounds on him, and he just lets him rip it away from him. That's indicative of Traylon Burks' career. I mean, that's Traylon Burks' career in a play. That's what it is. Just don't give a damn, don't want, no nothing. That's Traylon Burks' career wrapped up in 10 seconds. That really is. Just don't give a damn. That's the way I look at it. I mean, that's what it looks like to me.
We gave him a shot. Let him do what he's supposedly supposed to be really good at. And he got manhandled by, like you said, a man half him size. You got to be able to come up with that catch. But the ball was slightly underthrown. Doesn't matter. I thought it was a good throw ultimately. And
it was a good enough throw, right, Jake?
It was good enough. And I see what Callahan was trying to do with that. It's a one play right after he turns over the ball. They come back out. They're trying to build some confidence in him, get him back into rhythm. And ultimately, it was good design. Should have been a good long completion. Ultimately, ends up in another turnover and just puts Will Levis even further down in the dumps. It did the opposite of what we were wanting there. Brian Callahan, I think did have some questionable calls throughout the game, though, in his own right. He was by no means perfect, specifically the gimmick plays like the jet sweep to Tony Pollard on 3rd and 3. But with 2 games in the books, what are your initial thoughts on Coach Callie as a play caller first, and then secondly, as a head coach?
So as a play caller first, I mean, I really like what I see from Callahan. I mean, we see a lot of creativity, a lot more creativity than we saw before. It's more modern. The concepts are modern. The concepts work if they're applied correctly, if the quarterback at the quarterback position, and they're not being applied correctly at the quarterback position. I mean, you can see he's trying to tailor his calls to Levis and his crazy Yosemite Sam temperament. I mean, the guy's like Elmer Fudd. I mean, he's just going boom, boom, boom all over the place. So, he's trying to cater to that a little bit and just tamp it down. But you just can't. When a guy is a guy, a guy's a guy. And Will Levis is that guy in that respect. But, I mean, the creativity that we've seen out of Callahan, I'm excited for it. It looks good. It's applicable to the modern game. It's something that'll translate to, over the course of a season where you can't just say, we're just going to beat them up front and, hand the ball off 30 times. That shit don't work every damn game. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff that's applicable, that's translatable, that'll work in the playoffs, that'll beat teams, that works for other teams as well. So it's a breath of fresh air. The only thing we're lacking is the quarterback play. The defense looks great. The offense, we have the skill players that we need to do well, to move the ball. We've got guys that can make plays. We just don't have a guy that can get them to make the plays. And that's the problem. As a head coach, I haven't seen anything wrong with what Callahan's done. He's done well managing timeouts. He's done well. We haven't really had any challenges so far. I think he's done well managing the games. In the Chicago game in the first half, I think he called a timeout early before the 2-minute warning. I like to see that. That's proactiveness. That's aggressiveness. Callahan is shown to be aggressive, and that's what you want to see in this league nowadays. You got to be aggressive. So I can't say that I've seen anything wrong with him head coaching wise. And actually, I've seen some good. He got in Levis's ass after that first turnover. So I mean, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I've seen a lot of hate on Callie throughout the comments on Twitter and all that stuff from today's game, and it just doesn't make sense to me, especially as Titans fans of what we've dealt with this past decade. I understand the results may look the same on the scoreboard as of right now, but I guarantee that's going to change here very soon. And even though we scored 17 last week and we scored 17 this week, I think there was kind of a night and day difference between this offense last week to this week. And I think it is improving. So you're just hoping that trajectory, and we talked about this in the offseason many times on the show. It might not look great in the beginning. This is a lot of newness all around this team, from the offensive line to the quarterback to the running back, all over this offense, and it's littered throughout. But we're seeing them slowly start to gel. And I'll say, Will Levis and Calvin Ridley starting to finally connect. We heard about it in the offseason through minicamp, training camp, all this, that they weren't on the same page with these deep balls or in their routes and all that good stuff. We saw them start to click in the second half today. And a lot of that was on Sauce. So there's reason for optimism.
For sure.
Go ahead.
What's going to be interesting to see with Callahan? It took me back to the point what you said about him being a head coach. How much grace does he give the special teams coordinator? And does he have much say in that, or does Carthen have the say in that? You know what I mean? So that goes into being a head coach. And I'm not saying he needs to be fired after 2 weeks. That looks terrible optics-wise. Imagine trying to hire a guy next year and you just fired a special teams coach 2 weeks into you being a first-year head coach. That doesn't happen. So, there's more to the head coaching play, but also with the bad hire, looks like to be a bad hire with the special teams coordinator. Look at the defense. Look what the hire we've got defensively with Denard Wilson. Look at the players that we've built that defense around, and just the profiling and talent IQ and talent acquisition that we've had with Callahan under the helm. That goes a long way. You can tell the process is where it needs to be. We can trust the process. It's just we got a kink in the process, and it's Will Levis.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the Colt Anderson take, and I think me and Jonathan talked about it last week, same time. Last week we were talking about it. It looked the exact same as it did in the preseason. There's no innovation to this special teams unit, and we ultimately, and he came out this week and said, you know what, that punt, it was on me. I need to do better there, and it starts and ends with me. Well, it has not ended because it was the same result this week. And they did get Gibbons out of there. That's one credit I'll give them. I saw the snap counts that TD put out just a little bit ago, and Gibbons went from over 50% of the snaps. He had 3 snaps today on defense.
Good. 3 more than he should have had.
Ernest Jones had 100% of the snaps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. EJ
Murray
was out
got
there.
hurt.
He went out for 3 plays and came back in because
yep.
that's the only plays they saw. So at least they're seeing the things that we're seeing as fans. And I think the biggest thing with the Mike Vrabel regime is we saw it for a long time. This offense fucking sucks. Ryan Tannehill can't get the job done. There's no receivers. And this new regime has gone out and brought that stuff in, and they're not listening to us as fans, but they just have a reason to look at this and be able to innovate. With the special teams, Jaquan Jackson has looked awful out there as a returner. It's anemic. And I understand he's a rookie. He's returned punts for 4 years in college. I think he should be able to come in and at least give us something there.
He should give us some spark.
He should give you something. If anything, I guess it is an improvement over Kyle Phillips because he would just be giving the ball back to the defense. But
it is. We can't. At least we don't have that fear when a punt is punted and we see the ball and the damn returner sitting under, we think he's going to drop it. So we don't really feel that. We just have a fear that this guy's going to run in circles like a top back there, which is better than dropping it, I guess. What do you think about the defensive performance? I mean, that they were on their heels all day. They found a way to stop the momentum when we needed them to stop the momentum late or early. I think it was early in the fourth where we gave the ball back to them. Aaron Rodgers, they went 3 and out, I think. They were able to stop the momentum, what they weren't able to do in Chicago. And what do you think about the defense? They just couldn't hold up. I mean, it was just too much for them.
I mean, Denard Wilson is doing everything that he can in his power to keep this team in games. And I think everybody from the national broadcast, they're seeing that too. The Jets, they did score 24 points, and I think that's 24 too many. But ultimately, I chalk that up to being in a negative field position a lot, going back to Will Levis in this offense, being on the field a lot and getting worn down over time.
Didn't rotate much today defensively either up front.
No, they did not. They didn't rotate much across the board as far as defense. I think Roger, he went out there for that one to end the drive, and I think we saw
Brownlee a little bit. Yep.
I think he had
and Adams rotated in once or twice.
Adams had 2 snaps, so
he made a play on one of them.
And it was like the very first play of the game, first or second, where he came in and hit Breece Hall in the hole. So I would like to see more of that. I think you can get him in there. And
in early downs, you can for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think Diggs, he had several plays that I remember just watching live going, okay, he's out of position there. He's got to do a better job there. Your boy Amani Hooker, he had some good plays. He did have some bad plays I saw too.
I'm trying to figure out.
Run.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what angle did this man have what's the angle thing? Not a speedometer. I don't even know. This guy, I mean, what kind of angle did he take for the Braylon Allen touchdown? I mean, who did he think he was? Yeah, he just watched him run past him. He ran up to him and was like an Olay with the damn like a matador. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's one play he did that. Another play he ran, he came in on a blitz, ran right past the screen pass. He's lucky that we had guys behind it. I mean, the guy, he plays like a chicken with his head cut off, man. If you just watch him, you'll just like shake your head. You'll be like, what the hell is he doing sometimes out there? Yep. And here's the thing though. If you notice, New York was targeting him. They would line Garrett Wilson up in the slot and try to line him up on Amani Hooker. And every time they had Hooker on Wilson, which I would do too, they were targeting Wilson every time. As long as they get him in the slot and have Hooker lined up over him.
They get him off Snead.
Yeah, they got him off Snead, got him on Hooker. It's like a pick and roll in basketball. Hooker is the guy that the offenses are going to attack. He's a weak spot of our defense. I mean, he just is. And you're always going to have a weak spot, right? But, we pay him a lot, and he's a weak spot. That's my problem.
Yeah. I think if I'm one of these opposing offenses and I see the Titans on my schedule, I'm running to the perimeter against these edge defenders because Harold Landry and Arden Key, that's one thing I wanted to bring up is I didn't even see him out there. I
thought he was still suspended. Is he still suspended for steroids?
somebody got to put him on a milk carton because he was missing out there.
I thought he was still suspended.
Yeah, I saw Jalen Harrell more than I saw Arden Key. The one play I remember Key is I think somebody came off the edge and he just sprinted down the line of scrimmage, which if the ball was going that way, that would have been fine. But it came the complete opposite way. He was running away from the ball. So that was one thing that really stood out to me.
Hey, man, he was running towards the damn social media phone, a social media clip. That's what he was running to.
With that being said, though, now that this game is over, and edge defender is still an area of need, probably the biggest need. Are you entertaining a trade for Hassan Reddick if it was on the table?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm not giving any draft capital for anybody right now. I'm honestly trying to get draft capital because I'm starting to because I'm scouting quarterbacks 2025. I've already started. I had a good friend of mine that he's a part of the Titans media circle a little bit. And I asked him last week, I said, have you started to look at, 2025 quarterbacks? I said, have you given up on them yet? He said, I started 3 weeks ago. I said, God, dog. It's crazy, man. But that just shows the lack of belief. You can feel in your heart if a guy is the guy. And Levis just ain't the guy. He's just not. I've never got that feeling that, man, he could be that guy. I'm not gonna say that he could. I'm gonna rephrase it. I'm gonna say I've never got that feeling that say, man, Levis is the guy. He is the guy. I've never got that feeling. I've always said, yeah, he could be, but never is the guy where you were confident in it, man.
I never felt that he could be a top 5 quarterback. I think that goes without saying. I never thought he was in the mold that could be Josh Allen. He could be similar in play style. But I don't think the ceiling is quite there. He just doesn't have it between the ears, unfortunately. But what you're hoping for is with this draft capital that they have upcoming and that they've used thus far under Rand Carthon and the cap space that they've used up to build around him, you're hoping that he can be the trailer behind the truck. And you're hoping that as he progresses, maybe he can learn to drive that truck. But as of right now, he's way behind the trailer at this point in time. So
you just need him to be average. That's the thing. He's just got to be. He just got to be average. It's terrible, man. And I think Mason Rudolph, knowing that his career is on the line and that if he goes like Levis with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions and a couple fumbles, he's selling insurance next year. Yep. That's the type of quarterback we need. Levis is playing with house money. I feel like at least he plays like he's playing with house money. I need a guy back there that needs to, where we're at right now. I need a guy like Rudolph back there that knows that if he screws this up, he's selling insurance next year. He's with Stetson Bennett,
I could say at this point, I could see the point where Rudolph comes in and maybe has a Baker Mayfield-esque season when he was with the Rams that got him paid by Tampa Bay, where he ultimately got paid. I could see something like that. Exactly. I could see something like that in their cards for Mason Rudolph. As of right now, I'm not doing that unless Levis gets hurt, though. Just because at this point, I'd rather have a great pick and Will Levis be absolutely terrible and be fine with that and know that he's not the guy. I mean, ultimately, you want him to be the guy and us to win games and him to improve down the stretch, but it's going to be one flip of the coin.
Right. I'm saying that selfishly that I want to see Rudolph in there. Selfishly, I want to see Rudolph in there because I want to see Titans win games. But realistically, logically, Levis needs to run this train out for the rest of the year, show a little bit of promise to where we have a little bit of leverage when it's draft day, just to entice somebody to throw, we get a Malik Willis like a sixth for him or something, So, I mean, just something. But I would let him run the rest of the year out. I mean, he's literally playing with house money now. He was playing with it before. He acted like he was playing with it before, but he's literally doing it now. So, I'm like I said, but I'm not really convinced about these quarterbacks coming out this year. So, my initial look. So, we'll see.
I'll say as of right now, in the brief little research that I've done, just based off really what I looked at last season, I think Shedeur is really my favorite at this point.
I'd say so too.
I get it that he has the off the field things, but that doesn't bother me at all. I think
it's 2024 too, man. You can have that's normal now.
That's normal. I don't mind any of that and him shitting on his offensive line and all that stuff. He'll be used to it here in Nashville, so that's fine.
Yes, exactly.
Carson Beck, after yesterday, maybe a little bit less sold than I was beforehand. I think those are your top two, and then after that, not really impressed. That next class after that, when they got Nico in there and guys like that, I think that could be really interesting. So
now that's the argument there. Let Levis play out the last 2 years of his deal, and then you get to that.
So we'll see. He's got to do enough this season to get to that, though. So that's a big if at this point in time. So, and I guess that kind of leads us to the offensive line, and we can talk about it. I think in totality, they did have a better game. I think Radence did not play as well as he did last week, but he was also the best lineman, as the broadcast crew reminded us several times last week. He was the best on the field. They did still give up 4 sacks on the day, and I think Levis even bailed them out a couple extra times with those great scrambles that he had. So it could have been even worse. But at the end of the day, it's not good enough at this point in time. They're still improving, though. They need to continue to improve, or it doesn't even matter if Levis is the guy or not, because he'll be sitting next to Tua in that cognitive rehabilitation class, because he's going to get
if he keeps this up. Yeah, if he keeps this up, he will. He took some shots today that I was like, sheesh. The offense line's got to improve, man. I mean, it's also a matter, they're this bad, and we're not even taking shots down the field. Like, we're not even trying to push the ball down the field. Seriously. I mean, it's just we're really dipping and dunking, and they can't even handle that. But this offensive line is young, man, so I'm not really worried about the offensive line. It's young. They're going to get there. We've got talent on offensive line. Skoronski has to pick it up, though. So, we'll see, man. Skoronski sort of, I ain't going to say I'm, like, worried about him, but I'm looking at him like side-eye, like, hey, man, you're a top 10 pick. Top 15 pick.
Really good. And
you're supposed to be.
All this talk.
I'm ready for him to turn the corner. He's got to turn the corner. That's the thing with me. Like, you got to turn the corner and be consistently, the best interior O-lineman on his team. You've got to be that guy. That's what we drafted you to be, that guy. He's tough as nails. He was bleeding out his mouth in the first quarter sometime. But I just need to see that. I need to see that production, man. I need to see you turn that corner as a guard and be that guard that we expected you to be. Potentially all-pro guard.
No, we drafted him to be essentially Quentin Nelson. Very similar placement, and he just has not been that. And obviously the rookie year, he dealt with the injuries and the surgery and all that stuff. But going into this year, he's beefed up. He's looking better in offseason. And then week 1, he was maybe the worst offensive lineman we had out there. And then going
turned over.
Week,
Apple turnover.
He's struggling with power is what I've seen. And people are just walking him down.
Why do you think that is, Jake?
I mean, I think he's a
Why
tackle.
Why do you think that is?
I've said
it's not like he's a tackle.
What do you think it is?
He's got T-Rex arms.
That's true.
That's part of the problem. Once they get arms on him and they get extended, he's done.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
I'm not super worried about him. I think he's going to improve, and I think maybe he will never be this all-pro style of guard, but maybe he can be average above average, and that's fine. That's better than what the Titans have had. I think Radence and NPF, that is where I'm mainly concerned, because in the running game they could run left all game, and I was calling for it. As soon as they started running left there in that fourth quarter, that's when they started being productive again. Tony Pollard had several big runs when he ran left down the stretch, but they kept running to the right, and they kept getting shut down at the line of scrimmage. And it's quite infuriating. But even in the pass pro, both of them.
Do you know how many sacks Fashanu gave up today? I want to say it was 1, right? Did he give up one to Landry on the edge? Was that Fashanu?
I don't think so. I don't think Fashanu gave up any. I felt like they were
Fashanu versus Latham Bowl today. And
one win against Arden Key, I'll say that. So
that's true too.
Harold Landry, he did have a good game. He recorded 2 more sacks today. He had 1 last week. So Harold Landry seems to be back. So
yes,
we saw lots more blitzes today as well under Denard Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Early, he was struggling with them. He did kind of get to the
man.
Especially early. Once he kind of settled down, I think he got to the point in time where he realized this secondary is not going to let up, and he just started throwing to his guys, hoping they could make a play. And Alan Lazard did that. Mike Williams did that. Chidobe
what a catch!
Had
what a catch Mike Williams had on the sideline.
Yeah,
there's just some plays that you just can't do anything about. That catch there, the Garrett Wilson catch on Snead over the shoulder. I mean, those are two plays that generational quarterbacks make. That's a generational quarterback. He back against the wall, third down, puts the ball right where it needs to be. That's quarterback play.
Yep. Trusting your guys, and he made it happen, and ultimately that's what wins you the game. The Titans didn't do that. Will Levis to Calvin Ridley for the touchdown. That was one of the craziest touchdowns I remember because nobody knew what happened, and then Calvin Ridley just kind of popped up with it. I don't think that was a great throw or decision. It just happened to be a great throw because of the results. That's one I would not like to see. But,
I mean, all the deep shots he took is almost like he forced them, which it's okay.
They're running a 2-shell deep with the safety, so primarily that deep shot's going to be double.
It's going to be tight.
He put it in good positions both times, and that's
now he did earlier on that drive. He did have a really good throw to Ridley that went through Ridley's hands. So I'll give him that. Levis had glimpses. It's the lows is for him. His highs do not overweigh the lows that he has. His lows are Marina Trench low. I mean, they're incredibly low. It's terrible.
That last drive on 1st and goal, and I'll give credit to, I think it was A to Z that posted it. They ran it back. That first, I forget where Levis put it, and it may have ended up being a sack if I remember correctly. But Calvin Ridley, he ran an over route out of that bunch position to the right, and he was wide open, and that would have tied the game right there.
Orlovsky posted it too. It was either Ridley or Hopkins, one of the two that was running over. And
I saw Drex. That's all I could see.
So he had it. He just missed the window that he could have threw it in. And I don't know what he was looking at. That might not have been his read. You don't never know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
That's why I really don't jump the gun on stuff. I mean, I did jump the gun. But that's why I try not to. Because you don't know the reads and you don't know the progression, right? So it's hard to tell. But he did. There was a guy open on the play. And if he would have thrown it, it would have been a touchdown. But that doesn't tell the whole story.
No, and I think we'll know more once we look at the All-22 and we can actually see where he's looking and maybe kind of diagnose where that read may have been. But that's also once you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, and that's how you get dunked on Twitter too, kind of talking about the stuff. So I think that really wraps it up. Today we had our picks though, and I think I had the Jets 23-17, so I was 1 point off. You also had the Jets, and Mr. Optimism, Jonathan, is the only one that didn't get that pick because he took the Titans. So ultimately,
what was my score for the Jets?
You had 16-13.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be low scoring.
That's 23-17. So I was 1 point off for the Jets, and then
almost,
and then you guys both took the Texans tonight. I will say I took the Bears, and we have a chance to only be one game back going into week 3 and not have won a game at this point in time.
That's incredible.
Which is an indictment on the AFC South at this point because the Jets or the Jaguars, they looked awful and they could have tied it up or won the game at the last play of the game. I saw that. And then also the Colts, exact same thing. They could have won it there at the very end. And Anthony Richardson.
The Colts might be the worst. The Colts might be the worst football team in football. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think they're the worst team in football. Or besides Carolina, I don't even count Carolina. They're in the SEC. The Colts are really the worst team of football. The NFL. The Panthers. I don't even know what league they're in. The minor leagues.
Yeah, CFL. I kept looking at. I was watching our game on my laptop primarily, and I had Red Zone going on. And each time I look up and saw one of those teams, Anthony Richardson's throwing a pick, or Trevor Lawrence is throwing it into the stands. So at the same time, when I was watching Will Levis, I was like, it could be worse.
It don't get better, man.
No, so
it just shows you how hard it is to play quarterback in this league, man. I mean, a lot of people take it for granted. We watch Mahomes, we watch Tom Brady week in, week out. Shit is not easy, man. It's the hardest position in football for a reason. There's so much that goes into it, processing-wise, execution-wise, organizationally, so much, man.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great game today. From what I saw, he wasn't playing well, and that just tells you where we're at in this league. Defenses are starting to adapt to these new schemes that we've seen these past several years, and points scored are going down because of it.
I'm glad you said that. They're getting a lot more athletic. Defenses are, and it's crazy to say they're getting a lot bigger, they're getting a lot taller, they're getting faster. I mean, they're just getting a lot more athletic, and they're covering every blade of grass. It's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, the windows are tighter than they've ever been. They're playing zone, they're playing over the top, cloud zones over the top, making you dip and dunk, and then they're flying to the ball. It's that, or they're manning up all the way across the board and bringing pressure. The edge guys are the best they've ever been, damn near. Interior D linemen are 100% the best they've ever been in the history of the NFL. It's just, the NFL it's fun to watch, man. It's getting the gap. There was a gap probably about 5 to 10 years ago where the offense and defense was just sizable, right? It's closing. Defenses are getting a lot better. And credit to Fangio, because he's the one that really kickstarted that with cover 6 and cover 8 and all that.
No, they're getting more multiple across the board, and like you said, these guys are getting more and more athletic on a year-to-year basis. So that's all I have. Before we get out of here, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I mean, keep your hopes up, Titans fans. It's easy to be pissed off at Levis. He's a 25-year-old kid at the end of the day, man. It's just football at the end of the day. And if you had any type of brain, you knew we weren't winning the Super Bowl this year. So enjoy the process, enjoy the suck, because it should get better in the long run, with or without Levis.
I 100% agree. We've ripped the Band-Aid off. That was Mike Vrabel, and we're starting the healing process. We're still a little scabbed over right now, so it's going to get better, guys.
Enjoy the suck.
Yeah, enjoy it, because once we're on top here in however long, you'll appreciate this time. I still remember looking at the 2-win season and going, you know what? I don't mind it at this point, because it just brings back memories, and you're like, okay, I'm thankful for where we're at now. So we'll be back.
What's so beautiful about it now? You just start scouting earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I've basically started this week after last week's game. So, but yeah, we'll check you guys out again next Thursday. As always, morning, 7 a.m. CST. But do us a favor, if you're still checking us out, and there's a couple hundred of you guys in the chat, make sure you go and subscribe, enter that Tajay Spears signed jersey giveaway, hop in the comments to vent, and then check out the merch, the Morning Glory Show merch. That's some amazing logo there.
Look at it.
But it looks great. We'll be here, though. We'll be talking Malik Willis. So definitely show up on Thursday morning. I'm sure Jonathan Miller will be joining us as well. But y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a great start to your week. We'll see you on Thursday. Peace.
Peace.